Castleford against Leigh, the penultimate game of round 7 of this Betfred Super League season, and we're about to get underway. If you think you know what's going to happen in this game, you might have to think again. The restart, right from the start, has sailed out of play on the full, and a mistake literally from the kickoff for Cass, and Leigh get a penalty on the halfway line.
And just when you're looking for a terrific start to the game, and it is, there's no wind here. You can't blame the wind this evening. It was just way too heavy off the boot. Lachlan Lamb sees it over the dead ball line.
Well, there were 2 balls on the field for a moment there, so Leigh thwarted in their early ambitions to tap and go, but here they go now with O'Brien slinging it back and into that line. It's carried by Robbie Mulhern, and on tackle 1, first touch of the ball, Leigh already find themselves in an excellent attacking position here. Trout angling towards that left-hand side. Well, we know the dimensions of this ground. We mention it every time we come. It doesn't take long to go from defence to attack. Well, here Leigh have started on attack, and what an opportunity. Ipape, now it's with Lamb. Lamb slinging it out. Little step back on the inside from New, but he's dragged down. There will be a freshness to this Castleford defence with his first set that they've had work to do, so that is one consolation in this situation. 1 tackle to play. Ipape just bends his back. It's with O'Brien, and now it's with Lamb, and Lamb going wider still, and Armstrong is going to be dragged down, swamped by several in Castleford colours, and Castleford survived, Courtney.
Yeah, and they'd want to, and Danny Maguire, after an unforced error to start the game, he will have expected no less of that. So in return, a good defensive set, and we know that this year, that's where they've leaked so many points, when teams have got inside good ball. So at least a positive sign in that regard.
But it's a tough assignment that Castleford have here, trying to bring it out of their own end of the field, where Leigh left them at the end of that set. They've already gone through 3, so 3 to go. It's a slow play the ball. It's been the theme of the year. It's picked up by Seaney, who'll drive it in. And Horn is having to wait just a little while here, because 3 Leigh defenders doing their best to wrestle and waste a bit of time. Horn throws it back to the middle. Westerman now just offering in here, and Mustafa with the carry. But he's going no further than the halfway line, and this is the last play of this set. Slung back for the boot of Arce, who puts it high in the air. Armstrong doesn't have to move too far to collect that, and here comes Bailey Hodgson to return. So after that first mistake, Castle made a decent recovery.
Yeah, decent recovery and a nice little kick chase there. We know how potent the back 3 are for Leigh Leopards, so the kick chase will be ever so important for them this evening. As Leigh Leopards bring it out strong and hard up to the 40.
As McIntosh, who's wrestled around. Ipape looking back towards the middle again. They're going to finish this set inside their opponent's half. They're going to be there right now. Oh my goodness, what a gliding run this is from Mulhern. Nobody got a hand to him. He's got support as well from Isaac Liu. That looked almost too easy for the big prop forward. The play the ball is untidy. It's picked up by Ipape. The defensive line is at 6s and 7s, and Leigh take advantage of some appalling defending to score the first game of the night.
Yeah, and it was Robbie Mulhern. A terrific week for him in the cup last week against Wakefield, and it just opened up like a red carpet for him. Through the middle of the pitch, Ipape always involved, and in behind the ruck there was plenty of space. Isaac Liu did his best, brought down, but again shoved out of the road. Ipape spots his space, up he goes, decisive, and kick off the right foot to score just to the right hand side of the post. Puts him up 4-0 with the kick to come. Brilliant start for the Leopards.
Well, 4 minutes played, as you can see, so it's an early blow. They've been down in that territory once before from a Cass mistake, and well, that will sound alarm bells, you'd imagine, amongst Cass supporters. The way that try came about, they're going to have to tighten that up, aren't they?
Absolutely they will. Tries like that are too easily scored through the middle.
Here's O'Brien who adds the 2, and Leigh have a lead here by 6 points to 0. And they are very happy with that situation. Ipape, the try scorer.
You see him there. Mulhern, he was keen, he was in at hooker. Keen to get himself on the scoreboard. Instead, Ipape says, get out of my road. This is my job, my role. And I'll put us on the board to start the evening off.
Well, a little less in terms of length from the kick-off this time. And it means that Leigh have possession 15 out from their own line. And a chance to build again here. Ipape stands and waits. Here's Frankie Holton with that carry. Dummy half in position again, just trying to get things moving again, and Leigh just making the yards in their favour. Danny Maguire with early concerns. O'Brien is behind the 40 when he lets fly with that, but Texoy is in the right position and he's able to defuse any threat of the 40-20, but a good response from the lead chasing defenders.
Yeah, it really was. Early kick there inside the 40, as you said. He was met by 5 Leopards defenders, and as a kicker there's nothing better than getting a good kick away and the acknowledgement of your chasers.
So they need to put their backs into it. Horn having a look around. Here through the middle is Lawler, who's picked up and dumped down, all fair and square. Horn flicking left. Mustafa helps it on its way. There was a hand in there from Arce as well, but Leigh have got that covered well enough. And they're on the last. Kershaw picks up. This is Arce, who sticks it high again. There's a bit more work to do here for Armstrong, who's travelled well into that. Shrugs off a couple of defenders. We know how dangerous he is.
Yeah, brilliant start to his Super League career this year, and what a signing for the Leopards. He is slippery with ball in hand, and a major threat that no doubt Castleford will have spent some time on this week.
Jeremiah, you can't be any later.
Tessie New.
What a game he had last week.
Ipape, out it comes. McIntosh just touching it back on the inside again. But foregone Leigh already again crossing into enemy territory. This is Mulhern. They're on the last. Slung out to Lamb. Lachlan Lamb sticks it up there, looking for a bit of no man's land, but well claimed by Josh Sim. But as soon as he gets there, the moment he comes down, I mean, a really beautifully flighted kick, that, isn't it? Because he was easy meat for those chasing Leigh defenders.
Yeah, he's executed it beautifully, and we all know that good halfbacks and the way they control the game through their kicks, positioning teams to come out of the corners. Really well done there by Lachlan Lamb, and you can just see with ball in hand the Leopards' patterns emerging, trying to get in behind the play the ball.
That was Mustafa. Here comes Horn and Westerman now, looking to carry it in, and maybe with the intention of offloading, but too much traffic around him for him to consider that a safe option. So it will be the last, and Arce again will just try to hammer it downfield. It's going to bounce, but it's kindly enough for Armstrong. Looking to return as best he can, and hits that line, and good metres after the contact as well from the fullback. He's putting a little bit of a dint in the intentions of the Castleford defenders.
Well, Armstrong, he's not only slippery, but he's deceptively strong, pound for pound. He's shown that across the game so far this year.
Well, they're here again, tackle 3 inside the Cass half. Holton, another set of 6, gets even better for the visitors. The Leopards are roaring here and coming on with some strength from Mulhern, and that is tackle 1 in this set. So they are perched nicely once more. Liu with the hands, O'Brien with a dummy, but squeezed into a couple of Cass defenders. Ipape across there quickly, looking for that central aisle once again, and Trout this time, and he's lifted through the perpendicular, and an easy penalty for the referee to give.
Yeah, and easy meters downfield, another 6 again, and then another penalty here as we see Trout Lawler just gets it wrong. Lifts his hips above the horizontal.
Well, the referee's having a conversation here with the video referee, which we're not privy to, but that suggests they're having a good look at this to see if there's any more than just a penalty. Sounds like it's going to be George Lawler who's called out. So let's have a listen to this. Referee calling out George Lawler for a talking to and possibly more.
You do put it into a dangerous position. It meets that threshold, but there is mitigation. Brings it down to a yellow card. 10 minutes more.
Well, there you go. It's a yellow card. It's a sin binning. George Lawler's away, and not far away from a red card from what we were hearing, but a yellow card is damaging enough for a Cass side who are already in a parlous position.
Yeah, it will be, and only for the mitigating circumstances. Lawler finds himself with a yellow instead of a red. And as easy as it was for the Leopards to make meters already in this game, they'll now be only up against 12 instead of 13. An interesting choice for O'Brien to take the 2.
Keeps the tins clicking over, doesn't it? And you just give them a 2-score lead. The way things are going at the moment, I mean, Cass need to sort this out, because the way things are going at the moment, you can see this being a night of plenty of points for Leigh. It is very, very early, but 8-0 they lead. Cass looking for a response here with this next set.
We have seen teams from Castleford in the past when they are down, and so we see Castleford staff, Danny Maguire there, arms folded. He'll be asking plenty of questions, but we have seen it galvanise them in the past. And I'm sure he'll be hoping that that's exactly what happens on this occasion.
Well, Asi with the restart. Taken safely enough by Hodgson. And Leigh begin to just plough their furrow back downfield as quickly as they can. Holton. This is Ipape. Taken on by Trout. Decent carry by him, but Castleford have resisted their go forward at the moment. Hughes. Cass will be happy with this response. Leigh kept inside their own half for the moment. Liu. Lamb. Oh, the challenge was a good one. It's rocked the ball out of the hands. It's collected by Mills. And suddenly Cass are given an excellent position here. And Jeremiah Simbikin with a real telling challenge there.
Well, in a player down, it was probably their best defensive set so far. Limiting the meters and, of course, denying the kick on the end. This will be the best field position Cass will find themselves if they can complete this set here. We'll go a long way into this 10 minutes.
Sinny with the offload, and he's got support from Horn, who was expecting and waiting for it, and they've got a few numbers over there. The pass is poor. Wood picks up, delivers it back towards the middle, so they've re-established a bit of a presence here. What can they make from this? 2 tackles gone, 4 to go. Best position of the night so far from Cass. But Hoy's hurt, so it's a slowest play the ball. Westerman now. Cross the line, it's going. And a chance for Sinny to put the footwork on. Leigh have him gathered in. Here's Simbikin. It's back with Mills. And now Westerman. And Westerman looking to drag them left again. Lee's defence is numbered up and ready. So 2 plays to go for Cass. Inside the 10. Horn. Delivering that pass. Hoy's recovered the kick. And it's played out and it's picked up. And it's a chance to clear the lines here. Well, he never had the pace. You never want a big man in the middle there, do you, when an opportunity like that offers itself. But full marks to Trout for actually getting the ball back anyway.
Yeah, he certainly looked up as soon as he got that ball, looking for help. Tex Hoy tries to get the kick in behind.
Here's Tessie New. 3 gone. And here they are again. Lamb. Now it's with Holton. Ipape rolls up. Mulhern. Giving it away, but it's an obstruction line there, so tackle is taken. Make sure the penalty isn't given. It's back with Lachlan Lamb. Puts it up there, Kershaw's underneath it, and Kershaw's safe. He's chased down again. Again, the hang of the kick means that Leigh get right on top of defence right at the start.
Yeah, it's pin perfect again, isn't it, the kick? As we see numbers coming in, denying metres of the Castleford Tigers, and there it is, Kershaw back on his second loan with the Tigers. And on the third, they're not even up to the 20, making hard work of this.
Sense of frustration for the Castleford crowd at the moment as well. I think they felt that their team were hampered. The referee might have been given a penalty, but he hasn't done so. Horn slips it left, and Hoy now begins to look further left and drifts in that dangerous fashion of his. But they hit the final play. Still 10 inside their own half. And again, it's a kick that's not gone where it's meant to go. It's gone straight into the midriff of Ipape. Good take by the hooker. And then it's a penalty. Not clearing the ruck, he says.
Needs to release.
Well, that frustration around these parts continues.
As you can see here, it was Arcee that tried to keep the ball low and find grass with the fullback ready, but Ipape, he absolutely pounces on it, and in the process give away the penalty, and this is a massive set.
It is, isn't it? Even so early in the game, you sense that a real pattern could be set here, one way or another. Did Castleford dig deep, back to the well, defiance in defence, or did Leigh take advantage of another wonderful situation? It's Mulhern, Ipape. O'Brien has gone right, and here he is, looking to bring them in. 3 gone, 5 metres to cover. Ipape jumping out there. Liu attracting defenders. The ball's gone to ground, and it is a penalty. It is a penalty. It's a ball steal, not a drop. And the Cas fans are purple with rage at the moment.
Well, and you can see the reaction from Westerman. He was dead set certain it was just a loose carry. It's a little hard to see on that angle.
Oh, hang on. Captain's challenge. Castleford say it wasn't a ball steal. Captain's challenge. Let's hear from Ben Thaler for the first time tonight.
So we have a captain's challenge of the ruling of a ball steal. You can see that prior on that angle, there is a Castleford man's hand there that has his right hand that's got some strapping on the ball. Let's just see what camera 1 shows us. That's not showing us anything really on that. Camera 2, you can clearly see it on camera 2. So you can see the Castleford player with the strap on his hand, and you can clearly see that as he pulls his arm out, the ball then comes out. The challenge is unsuccessful. Chris, stay with your decision of a penalty for a ball steal.
So it doesn't change anything. It stays as it was, and Leigh have a penalty. And there is the decision related to those Cas fans who are not enjoying their Saturday night at the moment, are they? Leigh have got to run this, haven't they?
Well, surely with the man down, you'd think they're going to back themselves in here, and they do.
So Ipape with a tap, and Hughes will set the platform. Just taking it in and held up, only 5 away. So plenty of options here. They're going to go left. It's taken on by Mulhern. Little swing of the hips. Still challenging those defenders. I think Horn took a bit of a knock in there as he tried to make that tackle. Ipape will pick it up. He sensed that Horn's hurting, and he's gone straight at him to try and get over the line, but the Castleford man has recovered well. He had some support too. O'Brien pops it over. That's a ball pass. Picked up there by McIntosh. Looking to bring it back towards the middle. Pushing off defenders. They've lost a bit of ground, but they're regaining. And they've still got momentum. Ipape, out he goes. Dummy show. Looking to tire out the big man down the middle again here. One last play. Who takes command of this? Well, it's going to be a drive out of dummy half from Trout, which I suspect is the least likely option from that situation. He has to hand it over.
Well, to be honest, it's a pretty disappointing set from the Leigh left. extra player out on the pitch. Certainly a lack of composure and a lack of execution, and a lot of those passes. Well done, Castleford Tigers. They hung in there. It wasn't pretty, but it did the job.
Here's Kershaw looking to clear that line. Bit of honest endeavour from him. But Leigh are there in numbers. And tackle 2 sees Castleford thwarted to less than 10. Well, dancing steps, but those are big bruising shoulders that are coming in. Castleford are struggling to get out of here. They need something now, but again they're running into some defiant defending once more. With the shape of the Leopards, the ball has been lost, has it? Or has it been stolen? It is a steal. It is a steal. And that is a huge... You can hear that sense of relief around this stadium because that lifts so much pressure.
Well, the crowd absolutely erupted there. And a steal after, again, struggling to come out of their own end. This will definitely help. As you can see in there.
Let's go, Rowan.
Definitely a hand in there. They're taking their time. Trying to wind down this clock until they get George Lawler back on the pitch. Lovely kick.
Next line, boys.
That's a good point you make about Cass being down to 12. And the fact that they've survived this spell of real pressure with only 12 men. That is, you'd imagine, going to lift them. But that was one big shoulder from Ipape. And a little bit extra as well.
Ipape has been full of beans tonight. Electric out of half and in defence there. As he goes across to apologise to Mustafa. Again, the hips above the horizontal.
We've seen one in the bin. I think we might be seeing another here.
Well, if there's going to be consistency.
Oh, well, the referee's explained their lands in a much safer position, so it is just the penalty. No further action. Cass at the moment will be very happy to take this penalty. Again, back to back.
And not just for the field position that it will give them, but possession. We just heard it through our headphones. About to return to 13 on 13 as we see Lawler join them.
Simbakin for Castleford, who trail here, as you can see, by 8 points to 0, but have been under plenty of pressure and have found a way to survive. Westerman hanging it on now. Mustafa taking it another step closer. Here comes Horn. Another set of 6, hanging on too long again. It's with Assi. Back on the inside for Mill. Mills not going too far. Horn. Simbakin. Well, they're wrestling closer. 4 plays to go for Castleford, 5 metres out. They are desperate for some reward here. Westerman, left again, Assi out there. Hoy gets the pass away, and the offload. Kershaw is a forward pass. It was a forward pass, and it looked from our angle very clearly forward as well. I don't think there's going to be... Although Miller's having the word, but I don't think there's too much complaint about that. But that gives Cass some heart. They found a way of getting through, albeit by illegal means.
Absolutely, and first real positive signs in good ball we've seen. The skills of Tex Hoy out the back was the final pass. Couldn't quite get it to put Kershaw away. But brilliant 10 minutes to be down by 1, and for the Leigh Leopards to only put 2 on them. Danny Maguire will no doubt be happy with that.
Well, it could be a match-defining 10 minutes, couldn't it, this? Castleford filled with a little bit more gusto than they were before that sin binning, and certainly on the point of that sin binning, but they have survived. Ipape brings it out. This now is with Holton. Ipape again. Bailey Hodgson involved here. Path sought back down at the middle again. Ipape. The interchanges have started to be made here, haven't they? For both these sides, it's with Lamb who sticks it high in the air, and nicely taken by Josh Sim in amongst the artillery that was coming his way. But again, that kicking game has put Castleford right back 5 metres from their own line right from the start.
Yeah, it was. But here come Castleford. They'll be really pleased with how they performed with only 12. Now they got 13 on 13. You see them start to make a few more metres upfield.
O'Brien's bounced over by the challenge of Mustafa. Westerman brings it on again. Here's Hoy with a footwork, but can't feel his way through. They're baying for anything, the Cas fans. But that might have been a little high. The kick is from Mills. The catch is from Armstrong. And the fullback looks to return.
You mentioned the interchanges there before. You're starting to see a few of the big men for the Leigh Leopards starting to tire, starting to take a few to get back in behind the plate. But with a hooker like Edwin Apape, these markers have got to be spot on this evening.
Here's Apape. That's another good challenging run that has taken Leigh back inside their opponent's half. Couple of plays to go in the set, and Pape's off there bright as a spark once again. A little bounce off the shoulders by Hughes, but he can't promote it any further. And there is one play to go in this set, and it's with Lamb, who just sticks that as high as he can. O'Brien's leading the chase. Always done well to get up there, and Castleford have it back. So this is the penultimate game of the weekend, of course. There's one more game tomorrow, Huddersfield against Catalan, 2:55. Sky Sports Plus for that, and then my goodness, we're so excited about next week. Wakefield against Cass on Thursday night, Hull KR 12 o'clock on Friday, Wigan St, that's on Sky Sports Action, Wigan against St Helens 2:45 likewise, Leeds against Huddersfield on the Friday evening, Sky Sports Plus, and then Saturday Leigh against Warrington at 1:25, and Catalan against Salford brings us to a conclusion of that rivals round, which just sets everybody's taste buds tingling. Here's Armstrong.
Great return there from Armstrong. We've come to expect nothing less of him.
George Griffin's on the field, just making his first tackle of the night, the Castleford man.
You can certainly see this evening Leigh Leopards are really happy to try and get back in behind the ruck. And can see so far in this game and been interested by the lack of initial contact and control of the ruck. Sometimes markers not quite in position, and you wonder Leigh are trying to target those areas.
So Brian, Lamb, a flat pass for Holton, worse than flat. Cass fans below us felt that was forward. Lamb again. This is still the last tackle, so Lamb has to make something up here. Puts the kick up. Challenge is good, and Wood is going nowhere.
First time we've seen some real kick pressure on Lamb's kicking game.
Kershaw with the offload, that's good. One carries it on. There's a real Papua New Guinean influence to this night as well, isn't there? The Castleford players, likes of Horn and Simbakin. And then you look at Leigh's lineup: Adrian Lamb, Lachlan Lamb, Edwin Apape.
It's a PNG reunion.
Yeah, great to see, isn't it? How the game has come on and influences rugby league worldwide now. This is Westerman. Here's Mills. Hoy from Simbakin. Back it comes to Mills, who sticks it high, and Armstrong goes up, leaps prodigiously to take that.
Well, Sini was on his bike there. Had to just hold off his contact, so he wasn't penalised. Lachlan Lamb in the road, as per usual. He's been escorted in a little bit tonight. I wonder if the referees will have a look at that.
Getting excited there because McIntosh running into a bit of a space, giving his side some extra yards and bonus yards from that position. Tessie New brings it back down the middle and challenges the big men therein. Westerman holding on grimly, a couple of his teammates there to help. Ipape looking at the referee, maybe thought there wasn't a square issue there, but he's not got the penalty. Instead it comes left, and this is one of those off the bench to Itabaki. And they're on the last play. So Ipape hurls it back to the middle. O'Brien just pops it up there. This is interesting now. Hoy comes out. There's a challenge in the air from Hodgson, and it was a challenge for the ball, the referee decides. And Hoy's hurt. I think he might be winded. Not surprised after that.
And you can hear Chris Kendall in the background deeming this to be both players challenging for the ball. Therefore, fair play. Hoy did come down a little ginger. We'll keep an eye on him in back play.
Cass looking to robustly find their way downfield. Wood put down, running out of plays again here, just a couple to go. Westerman, he can make things happen down the middle, can't he, Joe Westerman? But it's a straightforward pass for Lawler to take it on. Horn again. It's on and off the boot of Assi. A bit of an angle on that one. But Armstrong again scuttering across there to make sure he's there in time, and a good Castleford chase means that Leigh start from here.
Yeah, good kick finding grass there from Arsi, and followed it up with a kick chase. He motored up infield just to deny that space for the kick return. But at the moment it's the lack of contact and the post-contact meters which are really enabling these Leigh Leopards just to churn meters out downfield.
This is Hughes. And again, there were three around him on the halfway mark, and he's 5, 6, 7 meters further downfield before eventually he's stopped his progress. To Itabaki, went on the dummy run. Liu ignored him, went left instead. Here's New, but that's a good read in defence. That closed things down because Sim came in and made the contact, kept a hold. And a little ripple of applause for the fans down there as he goes back to his wing as well. The high kick is another tester for the Hoyans. He just turns his back into that this time.
Yeah, it was a brilliant read out on the right-hand edge for the Castleford Tigers, and it was Sim jammed up and in, very decisive. And after last week's performance, Tessie knew he absolutely had to be decisive and get his contact right.
Hoy searching as he goes. Pape's got his number. Drags him to the ground. Miller just short of the halfway line. Kane's on, Kane Robb, I should say, he's on the field. Armstrong going on the outside of Kershaw. Well, he's got that zip and he's got that flight, hasn't he?
Well, he doesn't need a lot of space, does he? And we often see fullbacks return the ball back through the middle of the field. But on that occasion, took the opportunity to try and tamp down the blind side. We see them shift out to the left. Tessie New takes one in just over halfway.
Again, on the back of a kick, they find themselves 3 tackles later. Leigh back inside their opponent's half and setting up a position potentially for an attacking finish to the set, be it through hands or off the boots. Horn. A couple of plays to go in this set. Liu, he had Tuitavaki for company, but took it in himself. So where's this going? Lamb's to the left. It's going right, though, to O'Brien. Oh, that was the aim. It's hit Mulhern, and all that Lamb can do is pick up and scatter an extra couple of yards. But miscommunication from Leader.
And it's happened a couple of times. We saw earlier when the Castleford Tigers were down a player, a little lack of composure, and the halves not quite taking complete ownership and leadership and control of their team. We see here the pass into Mulhern's hand. And denies him getting a kick away, and Castleford Tigers, they need to pounce on this.
Well, 9 minutes to half-time, and the way things started in this game, I think Cass might have taken an 8-0 deficit at this stage, and they might be turning into something even better here, because Hoy with the carry. He's just exploring land inside Leigh's half. And now it's taken on by skipper Wood. Kane Robs over there. He's in the line and offers it back, and Okoro with a twist and turn away, offloading again, and here now comes Assi, and Assi keeps it alive as well. This is good from Castleford. Leigh's defence eventually pinches in, but with the last play, Cass are close here. Assi with a kick, and again it's a kick that's intercepted with a boot. This time Isaac Liu.
The only difference this time, getting boot to ball there, it's Isaac Liu. Denies Tex Hoy and the Castleford Tigers a chance to get the ball in goal, and a repeat set off a dropout. Just can't build any consistent pressure at that end of the field, can they?
That was Hodgson. And here is Ipape. And Lamb to Tessie New. New is putting his head down and going for it, trying to push those shoulders through the challenge on the last and inside their own half. So there's a bit of a victory for the Castleford defence, restricting Leigh's yardage. But that looked like a knock on. The referee says play on.
It goes forwards initially.
Yes, it does.
He gets back beyond.
Well, Tex Hoy had to be careful there because he would have been offside. But it's clearly a knock on, and it means that Leigh get the ball back here.
Yeah, and we see there, Tex Hoy obviously knew, he was very aware, and just had a little sneaky peek over his shoulder, and the oncoming Leigh Leopards had no choice in the end. And Leigh Leopards, they get another crack at the line here. After all that hard work from Castleford.
Well, they could have had a penalty. They've had a scrum, and there is an argument to say this is a better situation because they've got Cass stretched on both sides, and they've got Tessie New who's reaching for that line. But he's going to be held up, but only just. This could be a real time to strike here for Leigh. Penny now bursting in. Aaron Penny held up. 5 away. Ipape again goes scuttering out. There's so many defenders there, and they're in control of that situation. So Leigh have got to go back 10 metres and play it again. There's no way he was getting that ball down with all those defenders around him. But here we go. One more time. To Itabake. Liu and Penne crashing in. And again he's danced around by 3 in gold and black. Ipape, the short pass. Castleford are not falling for that one. Well, there's a bit of an extra urge there, but they're going to hang on. Liu's going to have to get up and play this. And this now will be the last. Ipape goes wide. O'Brien pops one over the top. The catch is taken well. And a diving finish from Darnell McIntosh. Referee is confident to give the try. And Leigh, well, you had to say there was a certain inevitability after all the pressure they were putting on there for that to finish in that way.
Well, and I'm surprised it's taken this long. After their first try came in the first 4 minutes of the game. Castleford have done well to deny them for half an hour. But Darnell McIntosh, athletic finish over in the corner, hasn't found himself on the scoreboard so far in this Super League season, and that'll be his first. No doubt of many. That's a beautiful finish. Pushes the Leigh Leopards with only 5 minutes left in this half. You did wonder if Castleford could hold them at that 8-0 scoreline. Not to be.
Well, there's a silence descending around most of the ground, and the Leigh fans at the far end enjoying their moment. Maybe they were hoping that their side would be in a much more comfortable position than they are at the moment, but it's still a decent position they're in. And if O'Brien can knock this one over, 2 out of 2 so far, then we go to that 3-score difference with half-time looming. No fans celebrating as their players return back to their own half in anticipation of the kick-off. The kick from O'Brien is, well, it's certainly got some oomph, but it's not got the accuracy. And 12 points to 0 at Leigh lead with 3.5 minutes of the first half remaining.
Yeah, and they've spent a lot of time down this end of the field, and they finally find themselves with a few more points on the board. Halves combining, and it was O'Brien with a beautiful pass over the top.
So more character required from Cass. He starts good. Hodgson pouches. The challenge is on again. Leigh from deep inside their own half. Castleford anxious to keep them as far down here as possible, and rushing out of the line quickly came Kane Robb. He's full of valor, isn't he? Looking to whack their opponents, keep them to a minimum. Penny now bounces forward.
Keep an eye on Kane Robb here. After that big shot he just tried to put on, he's certainly carrying that shoulder. So we see him there go into contact, a little ginger, holding that left shoulder a little dead.
Yeah, he's not looking great, is he? Good spot. O'Brien with a kick towards the corner. Kershaw's got some chasing to do. If this holds up, this holds up. No, it won't. It'll be a tap back on the 20. There's a little light relief from Castleford's point of view, and Hoy can get there as quick as he can. A 7-tackle restart.
O'Brien not quite getting the angle on that kick. Choosing to kick early inside 40. Doesn't come up with it. Instead, the Castleford Tigers, 7-tackle set. And if they can score some points, only a couple minutes left leading into half-time, that'll be a sigh of relief and put them back in this game, which is certainly not out of the question.
Sinney. Griffin. Looking to push defenders away. Never really had any momentum there, did he? Had to start from a standing position. Pick up out a dummy half by Sinney again, and now they move left with a little bit of adventure as well. Mellor slings it away, and they're keeping it alive here. And Wood trying to find some room on that left-hand side, but Leigh across to make the cover. Still plenty of tackles to go in the set, because it was a 7-tackle count, remember. And here comes Lawler. And Lawler, well, that's a good effort. Very good effort, with defenders hacking off him. Robb again, spinning it back. Okoro just looks for that muscular route right down the middle. This is the last. Robb slinging it back. Milnes with the kick, bounces up into the hands of David Armstrong. He's not going to be too concerned with that, because 45 seconds to go. They've got a shot clock to play with and a dropout underneath the sticks.
And they'll survive going into half-time, but potentially a missed opportunity out on that left-hand edge. It was Arcee that looked up and saw only 3 players outside him, calling for the ball from his half, didn't quite get it. Just when they needed points, perhaps that was the one that went missing.
So the shot clock being used to its absolute maximum by Leigh, and the ball bounces up into the hands of Sini. And Castleford have got one last play here in the final 10 seconds of this first half. Can they make something happen? Wood, though, is taken on by 3. The tackle is complete, and that is the way the first half will end. Well, it started in electrifying fashion with that Ipape try in the opening 4 minutes on the back of a bursting Mulhern run. Castleford dug in, and thereafter they lost a player to a yellow card, George Lawler, in the 10th, but they really dug in. It was only Darnell McIntosh's try towards the end of that first half that has made this a much more comfortable position for Leigh, but it ain't over yet. We've got analysis of that first half to come, but at half-time, it's Castleford 0, Leigh 12. Every single game live right here on Sky Sports.
That's a great shot there.
Great tackle! This is getting fiery now. Magic Mikey strikes again.
Individual brilliance from a special player in Bevan French. Strap yourselves in. It's going to be a blockbuster.
Rugby league, truly the greatest sport on the planet.
Well, we've got a lot to look forward to, haven't we? We're only 7 rounds in And we complete round 7 tomorrow. Huddersfield against Catalan. Sky Sports Plus 2:55. Join us for that. Can Huddersfield get over that terrible injury problem they've got? And then next week, as we said, absolutely mouth-watering rivals round. Wakefield against Cass starts us off 7:55 Thursday night. 3 bumper games on Friday. Hull against Hull KR. And given Hull's result today, my goodness, there's going to be extra fire in that one, isn't there? 12 o'clock kick-off, Sky Sports action and main event. Likewise for Wigan against St Helens, 2:45. We're on air for that one, following right on the back of Hull KR. And then to finish us on the Friday, Leeds against Huddersfield, 5:25, Sky Sports Plus. And 2 more on Saturday, Leigh against Warrington and Catalan against Salford, 1:25 and 5:55 for both of those on Sky Sports Plus as well. If you enjoy live sport, whatever the form it takes, you will be watching that next week, because it defies all kinds of expectations. Castleford 0, Leigh 12 is the half-time score here, just a couple of tries. And Courtney Winfield-Hill is alongside us for this one. What have you made of that first half, Courtney?
Well, look, going off at half-time, I think Danny Maguire will probably be pretty happy with a 12-0 scoreline. He certainly wasn't happy after this first kick-off. Saw it go dead and brought the Leigh Leopards straight back into good ball. And it only took 4 minutes. Edwin Apape put Mulhern, who's been fantastic the last few weeks, put him in behind the ruck. Tried to get himself back in there, but Apape, he pounced to put the Leigh Leopards on the board. So you can see it there, just a little bit loose in behind. Plenty of support coming through. And at 4-0 down, straight up in 4 minutes, it was hard going for the Castleford Tigers. Apape, he's had a brilliant first half. Terrific vision. As always, 40 minutes from him. But it was this moment here in the first half was definitely had a massive impact. We saw George Lawler get a yellow card for that. And they took the penalty, which I thought was very interesting at the time, quite conservative. And I still question it. Could they have been more than 12 up? Castleford Tigers didn't get a lot of good ball, but when they did, it was just the finishing, the kicks, the trap and scrap from the Leigh Leopards. Couldn't quite put on moments of pressure, and it hurt them. Leigh Leopards had so much time in good ball, and finally, after half an hour, it was O'Brien put McIntosh away to push the score out to 12-0, which we see it right now. And I don't think it's out of Castleford's hands just yet.
Yeah, there's still some fascinating action to go, isn't there, that second half? And we're looking forward to it as well, this next 40 minutes. These are the stats. I mean, Leigh's completion 90%, Castleford's completion 88%. There's no problems there, are they? But look at the metres that Leigh have made compared to Castleford's.
Yeah, it's the metres made, and I'd love to see the field position, the time inside 20 that Leigh have had, and the missed tackles, yeah, 19-9. And that certainly, it's a domino effect onto metres, field position, and then, of course, the scoreline. 12-0 to Leigh. Will we see a resurgence from the Tigers in the second half?
Well, the locals will be hoping so. As we said, Cass looking for only their second win of the season. They're going to need a big turnaround here. They trail at half-time by 12 points to 0, and we've got full second half commentary coming up very shortly. Well, welcome back to the jungle on a Saturday night where Castleford find themselves in trouble. Leigh Leopards leading here by 12 points to 0. And you'd have to say that is a scoreline that maybe doesn't quite reflect that first half. Certainly the way it started and the way it finished. Castleford digging in between times. But Leigh have taken a couple of opportunities. Well, Danny Maguire, I wonder what he's had to say at half-time to his charges and whether they can fix this up. Different attitude second half. I mean, as you said quite rightly at the end of the first half, Cass ain't out of this at this stage.
No, at 12-0 down, we all know it's only 2 converted tries. And it's certainly still within arm's reach. But we're going to have to see a different attitude come out from Castleford. It took the yellow card, really, to see a little bit of a shift in their defensive attitude in that first half. And they're going to need to start with that and start fast if they're to make it up.
Short sponsor's happy with that, I think, wasn't he? And they do a good pizza here. I'm not going to say who makes it, but they do a good pizza here at Cass. So those Leigh fans will be enjoying those. So here they come at the start of this second half. Leigh leading by 12 points to 0, perhaps thinking they could have more on the board. And Castleford coming out trailing by that scoreline and thinking that maybe they can still find a way to get back and win this game. Remember, they have lost every match they played this season, with the exception of that home match against Salford. It all started with the Challenge Cup defeat against Bradford, and then a really close run thing against Hawkinston Rovers. They could have got a surprise win that night, but then a big defeat at home to St Helens. Defeat against Leeds. They've lost at home to Catalan, and they've lost at home to Hull. So they need to turn that fortune around quickly, and they'll be hoping this 40 minutes is when they achieve that. But Leigh will be hoping to turn the screw and get themselves back in the top 6. What do Cass have to do at the start of this second half to turn that fortune around, Courtney?
Well, I think what we saw in that first half for me was in contact. It was just too easy post-contact meters for the Leigh Leopards just to march themselves forward. No doubt Danny Maguire has addressed that in the sheds during half-time. We saw the missed tackles, 19-9. Need to tidy that up if there's any chance of even just good field position to turn into points.
There's Griffin who plays it. Danny Maguire at the back of that dimly lit stand here at Cass. There's a certain worldy charm to this place, isn't there? There's always talk about new developments and new stadiums, and it ain't necessarily what Cass would want, but it does give you plenty of atmosphere on nights like this. But it's Leigh who are back in possession at the end of that set, and it's Hodgson who brings it forward, but then is dragged back. Now there's a good response, and if you're a Cass fan, you're going to be encouraged by that sign, aren't you, early doors?
Absolutely. Numbers in the tackle, driving back right in front of the Cass crowd down there, acknowledging their team's performances. We see the offload, dangerous here.
Well, and suddenly there's an opportunity to express themselves down that left-hand side. Penny, I think it was originally, who got that offload away. Just opening things up as far as Leigh were concerned in attack. There's Lamb. Ipape jogging into position. Liu handing it back, O'Brien into the line, and just a consideration to be made there from Armstrong to stick or twist. He decided to stick, keep hold of the ball instead of palm it on, because the defensive read was out and quick upon him. O'Brien, now Penne. To go round that initial defensive effort of Simbikin, but Simbikin hanging on. Last again, O'Brien up to the line, quick hands, and Lamb with a double pump and a dive for the corner from Bailey Hodgson. And just as they did in the first half, Leigh have found a way through at the start of the second, and it was a moment of delicacy from Lachlan Lamb to put it on a plate for Bailey Hodgson. But we are having a look at this. The referee's just been talking about penalties, but I think he has given the try. Try has been given.
As we see it here, it was always on down this left-hand side. We see the halves combining, and it's all too easy. At one point, you look up on that right-hand edge for Cass, and there were only two defensive players there. O'Brien and Lamb bully them down on that left-hand edge. No choice but for the winger to bite in, but it rolls out a red carpet. And he goes over to push the score to 16-0. And just when we thought Castleford, could they show some promise, could they show some fight, score early and give us a game, the Leigh Leopards are pushed out again.
His first try of the season, I think. Oh no, it's his third try. I do apologise. Third try for Bailey Hodgson this year in all competitions. So O'Brien from the touchline, and has he got enough on that? No, he hasn't. But Leigh are leading by 16 points to 0. And if there was anything in the playbook that Danny Maguire didn't want to see at the second half, this is it.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't that. As you can see there, trying to bite in, trying to solve problems. It was an easy overlap. But it all started from that beautiful offload. Again, talking about that ability or lack of ability to control post-contact and offloads as well. It's haunting them.
So Assi with a kick, Lamb with a catch, and Leigh come back, offering that same challenge to their opponents with a carry. Pepe at a dummy half, taken on by Frankie Holton. So Pepe, Penny's been summoned into position here, and here he comes. A big bustling effort from him.
Been brilliant since coming on off the bench. Real injection of power as we see them charging up over halfway again.
Tuitavaki, that latest effort. Pepe, now it's Lamb, drifting left, keeping a hold. Cindy with a tackle. It's untidy. Oh, a little tip over the top by Armstrong. Castleford have it back, and here's Hoy, but nowhere to go. And Cass start from there.
And it was Kane Robb. Tidied up there. We saw him clutching at his arm in the first half. Thought it was shoulder, looks to be arm, but he's back on having an impact.
Kershaw. Weaving and pushing. Back on loan again, of course, from Hawkinston Rovers. Leigh Kershaw.
Great work, Aaron.
Okoro. Kane Robb wants this play quickly. It isn't. Mellor away from the grasping arms of O'Brien and creates a little bit of space with that footwork as well, and Hughes is back to recover the situation from Leigh's point of view. But Castleford are running out of plays again here. One to go. Robb spinning it back. Mills. It's a big left boot on that, and Hudson, I think it is, in the corner, who's gone up to catch that, and Leigh will have it back, albeit close to their own line.
Yeah, cleanly taken at the back there. It's a nice kick, as we see.
Scragging effort from Tessinu, wasn't it?
A couple of line breaks from him in the first half. Again, you hear the referee, marker's not square, just starting to win the momentum of the play the ball again.
Two to go in this set. Ipape having a look left and right. So left he goes. Hodgson coming in for a bit more hard labour down the middle. Last play. Ipape spinning it back, and O'Brien looking to angle it towards the corner, make it as difficult as possible. Oh, he has got the bounce. Looked like it was drifting out on the full, but it falls to ground just in time, and all that Sim can do is watch it out of play.
Well, Sim gave it every chance. He had his eagle eye on it, begging it to go over on the full. Just bounces inside. He does get the bounce, finds the touch line, and they'll bring it back centre field.
A couple of spells at Castleford, of course. Gareth O'Brien, so he'll know that our mentions of this pitch. On loan here in 2013 from Warrington, and then between 3 years between 20 and 22. Looking to join the numbers of Mellor. Pushing and urging forward again. Kane Robb into acting half. Griffin is the willing recipient, and he's going to try and take them on as well, but has rumbled back from where he came. Again, they're struggling to get to that halfway line to plant their flag inside their opponent's half, so they've gone for an early 40-20, but well, it was certainly behind the 40, but it was a long way short of the 20. So Leigh will have it back.
And just at the moment, just trying to find themselves out of their own end. You see Leigh Leopards bring it back, taking their time.
Okay, Isaac.
A little bit of a cheat exit, that, wasn't it? The early kick. Trying to find some yards that they hadn't earned down the middle, but not coming off the way they would have wanted it to.
The early kicks are usually a sign of you're well and truly up on the scoreboard and controlling the game, or you're slightly nervous about coming out of your own end and you're just trying to buy every metre you can.
Here's Ipape. This now is Tuitavake. Hitting that line hard, putting a dent in it again, pushing Castleford back extra yards. Penne now leaping into that and gaining good ground as well. Now they land inside Castleford territory. Ipape goes running off. He's seen plenty of yardage to make some ground there. They're on the last. It's with Lamb. Lamb puts it up. Chase is on, but it's, it's a great response from Leigh's defence. The kick flighted perfectly. And between them, Frankie Holton and Alex Tuitavake are in there to put Cass behind their own goal line.
And it's the big boys from the middle that show up for their halfback in Lachlan Lamb, timing their run beautifully, driving him back. In the first half, Castleford Tigers only got 12 metres on kick returns, and it's from pressure like that, from the kick chase. We see it again.
Again, there's very little Josh Sim could have done about that, wasn't there? He's just caught in the headlights that were coming flashing his way. And Leigh, as a result, have a position here which starts with an attacking purpose. Tuitavake with that initial carry. Spun back to Liu and now Penne. Showing some athleticism tonight. O'Brien. Hughes trying to cut back in. There's Ipape. It's O'Brien who stands and waits. Tuitavake hitting the line hard, but equally met with a similar response. Ipape out, Penne trying to spin around, just trying to bludgeon a way through here, but Cass are not going to be soft to that situation. Ipape again, spinning it back, this the last O'Brien, and Lamb's got there, and so is McIntosh, and McIntosh is over to score. Well, it took some hard work to get there, but he's in for the second of the night. 2 tries on the board in the opening 11 minutes of this second half, and Leigh are looking good for it.
Yeah, and the momentum is surely swinging now to the away team, and a try right in front of their supporters. So we see here, again, the halves combining, and it was Kershaw that bit in. But it's absolutely no test for McIntosh as he goes over. Once again, a little easier than his first one. Smile on his face as they push it out to 20-0.
With a kick to come. It looks as though Darnell McIntosh is taking over the kicking duties as well here. O'Brien's still on the field. He's missed 2 out of 4, hasn't he, O'Brien? And he's had some tough ones in there, but I just wonder whether he's just hobbling a little. I'm not sure, just trying to read a little bit into that. Maybe overthinking the situation, Courtney.
There's always a question as you see it.
It looks a bit hobbly, doesn't it?
Maybe a little hip flexor niggle, and we know after last weekend's cup win, they'll be trying to preserve their key players for the meet coming up against Warrington.
Yep. You called it there, hip flexor, which is why he's not kicking and why McIntosh is. 20 points to 0. There's no great pressure on him here, is there? And it is a tough one, but I'd love to stick it over. Time taken. Leigh fans behind the sticks will keep as still as possible to ensure that he's not distracted from the task ahead of him here. Well, he strikes it. It's the Cass fans who are cheering, and you heard the referee saying that's a no. But it is still 20 points to 0.
Yeah, and it's McIntosh that's lit it alight. And again, Lachlan Lamb, beautiful read. And it's just too easy out on those edges for the Leigh Leopards at the minute. A couple of little scrappy moments in good ball. They've certainly tidied that up in the second half of the Leopards.
Yes, he swings the boot again at that ball and hands it back to Leigh in possession. And Castleford again having to dig really deep here. Their spirit and resolve is being tested once again. They need to find a way to offer a challenge here against this Leigh side. And again, they face that athleticism that keeps coming their way.
I think one thing Adrian Lamb's done beautifully this evening, so we see there Penne, just who I'm about to mention, is how he's utilised the timings of his bench. Tuatavake, Penne, they've been absolutely brilliant coming off the bench.
Here's Armstrong, eventually stopped. They are making big inroads down the middle as well, those big fellas, aren't they? Here's Lamb with the kick. Hoy with a catch, but again the chase is excellent, and again Castleford starting from very close to their own line, as they often have done tonight from those kicks.
Yeah, every time Castleford have brought it out from a corner, there's been a kick chase there, absolutely smothering them. You see Tex Hoy started the season in the halves. He returns to fullback and he's getting no space to work tonight.
Great work, Jack.
Namo, Sylvester Namo. Another one from the bench. Oh, that's a good carry by Simbakin. Threatening a challenging break. Kick away. Armstrong on the bounce is very awkward for Armstrong. He'll be hoping it carries on. Oh my goodness. Well, he kept his calm while all around people were thinking there was heads being lost here. He's just making sure about it. There didn't look to be any contact, but he's just making sure. See here from Ben Thaler.
So we have no try on field. If we just pause it on the boot, we can clearly see that all those players, bar the player immediately, or the two players to the left of him, are all offside. He doesn't bring them on as well. So the two players in the bottom of our screen as well will be onside. So let's play on from here. I'll take it back to make sure he was one of the onside players. Which he is, there's no issue with that. So going on from here now. It wasn't touched by Leigh. So we just need to see here what happens. And it's not touched from that angle by anyone. And it's not gone dead at that point, so just need to clarify. It doesn't touch anyone before it goes dead. And that will show it's missed by Castle completely and missed by Leigh. Thank you, I've now made my decision.
Well, it's an energetic chase, wasn't it? It looked pretty clearly that it wasn't a try right from the start, but just to make sure there that there wasn't a touch before the ball actually did go dead, because, you know, Armstrong was in danger of getting his body on that. Should have given Castleford the advantage, but it is no try. It's going to be a tap back on the 20, but there's some chase there. There's some attitude, positive attitude.
Dylan Mellor, he does it every week. Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent, never says die, and on that occasion nearly came up with the goods for the Castleford Tigers. Just out of reach. Very casual from Armstrong.
Well, he would tell you cool. If he's player of the match, and who knows, you get the choice. But if he's player of the match, we'll ask him whether he was casual or cool. Anyway, here he is now, involved in the line, trying to make things happen. Ipape up at dummy half to collect and deliver once again. to get these big men down at the middle, going forward again. Louis Brogan's on the field. First time I think we've seen him so far tonight off the interchange bench. Ipape again, it's all rather slow. Lamb goes out, dummies and steps and carries 2 or 3 a little further. They're 20 away, they've got 2 plays to go here, Leigh. Ipape picks up, throws it back, Louis Brogan's on the end of that, and O'Brien helps it on, Armstrong at pace, and he's on a hat-trick here, but Darnell McIntosh is going to be denied. A curtain of Castleford players came sweeping across, but there's 1 to go, and this is O'Brien, and that right foot sends it up there, but I think it's Sini who's underneath it, and he does really well, not just to catch, but clear his lines as well.
Well, it was Sini that went up for it, and as he came down, not a hand on him, so has the chance to get up and go forward again. It was Ipape that wrapped him up, so we see 3 of the Leopards defenders drive them back inside 20 still.
Kershaw with a carry, next by 2, and you talk about that O'Brien, you picked out the hip flexor possibility. He's still not running free, is he? He's still looking a little awkward in his movements.
Definitely awkward, and it's always hard when you've got one of your halves go down, and we see Mellor push through the line. This could be Castleford's first real good chance to mount some pressure and try and get an error out of the Leopards.
Well, Liam Hall is back on, as you could see there. Ken Roberts gone off to the sidelines. The kick is high. Armstrong's just as high with his leap, and Leigh have it back again. 5 from their own line, and looking to build here if they can. Very nearly an hour played. Castleford have not really looked like troubling the scorers so far, and Leigh have 4 tries to their name, and pressing for more to see this game home.
Just back to O'Brien, you can still see him there, even when he goes into half. Just clutching at that hip. As I said before, it's always hard when your halves go down with injury. You don't always expect them to come off. And with big games ahead, is that something that Adrian Lamb might manage?
As Davis had a dummy half, another from the bench. Just a suspicion of the legs going higher than the rest of him, but the referee says nothing wrong with that, and Lamb will put that up there. Hoy always bounced, and Hoy will be hoping it carries on bouncing. It does go dead, but you never let a rugby league ball bounce, do you?
Well, it's certainly a roll of the dice, and for Tex Hoy, comes up on the good side of it, and they'll get 7 tackles here to try and get themselves down the other end of the field with an attempt to put some points on the scoreboard. Currently 0.
Matt Davis off the ball.
His Horn inside, and Lawler with a carry, and hitting hard and trying to get some kind of positive outcome from that situation. Westerman brings it across, dummy shown, and Rajan Assi trying to trick his way through. Horn again, Westerman drawing in defenders, flicking it away. Milnes and now Sini, and Sini dances away from the first defender, and Sini's travelled well there. He's taken them close, and it's going to be a penalty. So Castleford with a positive end to this set here with a penalty.
And with a penalty on 4, they'll be desperate for points here, as we see brilliant footwork. It was from Sini initially to get the line break. And just the lift in the tackle, looks like Lachlan Lamb. Not too much in it, but of course, above the horizontal and dangerous.
Well, we're told that Castle left with 1 interchange now. Combination of injury and interchanges they've used, I think. But here they go, looking for some glimmer of sunshine on a night that's offered only clouds so far. Namo held up short. Horn stands and waits. Okoro's there. Westerman's behind him. This is Westerman. Hoy's in there, but it's a good defensive read on that occasion from Keenan Brand, who got in there, just stifling Castleford's intentions. Mellor again. Mellor picked up, danced around, put down. Horn Westerman to his right, trying to play the role of the general in the centre of the field once more. The dummy, the offload, it's given away, it's picked up this time by Davis. And so many times Cass have been at the end of attack, and a kick or an offload has given Leigh possession straight back again.
Yeah, and it was Westerman and Namo there, just got all their timings wrong. Westerman knocked up and Namo was already gone. Don't even get to the end of their set to get a kick. And the Leopards, they march on. Great defensive set from them. We saw a great read out on this right-hand edge, and after the cup win, Adrian Lamb spoke about their lapse in the second half and the need for improvement. They've heard him over the week.
This is Lamb, Lachlan Lamb. Boy underneath this. Safely patched and looking to promote the issue as well, get things moving the other way with a little positivity. Owen Trout back on for Leigh, by the way. Aaron Penny's gone off for a rest. He had a decent spell.
Well-deserved rest. But on comes Owen Trout, and he had a terrific injection in that first half, as we see Horn try and put players through the line as he jumps out of half. And again,
Horn goes out there, they're trying to keep it alive. Again, it's untidy. They've lost a little ground, but not the ball. But they only have one play left in this set as well. Again now, it's back off the boot of Assi. Armstrong claimed that, put his name on that very early, and is looking to make Castleford pay here as well, with a ball back on the inside. Hodgson put down, but Leigh already back inside their opponent's half, right at the start of the set. Looking to cause even more damage, but they can't do that without the ball. And Cass are given a bit of light relief with possession back in their hands. And it's back where we were a couple of minutes ago. Castleford in possession just short of the halfway line.
one of very few errors this evening by the Leigh Leopards. But it affords the Castleford Tigers another chance. A little disorganised in the previous set as we see them swing it out to the right-hand side. Sini, who at times has been dangerous.
Sini dealt with. Plenty of tackles to go. Castleford in decent position here. What can they make of it? Nama haven't really shown too many signs of breaking down this Leigh side so far tonight. Can it change? Assi again, back on the inside. Okoro coming on with power and strength. And Hall. And back again with Mills. And Mills looking for an individual path through that forest of Leigh defenders. Again, they hit the last. Assi stepping away, but just running into trouble. Never looked like anything coming off that final play.
Just really disjointed and wrapped up in the tackle. Referee Chris Kendall asked him to go back and restart. Certainly disjointed from the Castleford Tigers. A few individuals trying to do it on their own.
There is a sense of frustration as well from those Castleford fans, which will not be easy listening. Davis, there's an injury here, isn't there? It's clattered in, and there's a little bit of afterwards as well. I think Lachlan Lamb wasn't happy with the treatment Bailey Hodgson was given here. Hodgson clearly hurt.
Separate, please.
Well, Hodgson stayed down.
Take him down the red line, please, sir.
Lachlan Lamb went striding past him.
Liam, can we just go behind the red line, please? Thank you.
He immediately clutched at his face, didn't he? So we see the shoulder going in. And it was Lachlan Lamb that had a little bit to say with Sylvester Namo. And they come pouring in.
The referee again is having a conversation here with the video referee, is analysing this to decide whether anything needs to be done.
Well, the worry will be it's contact clearly with the head. Is it with the shoulder? And was there intention to wrap with the arms?
Well, again, this prolonged conversation Ben Taylor having with Chris Kendall on field.
Just let him do the process first.
Well, this is what Ben Taylor's looking at the moment. This angle.
Sylvester Sam,
you can see the clear contact with the head, can't you?
Sam.
Here we go.
Sylvester. Right. There is contact, and we're also taking into consideration we've swung into the tackle. But there is mitigation from red to yellow. 10 minutes.
So 10 minutes in the sin bin, and for the second time in the game, Castleford find themselves reduced to 12 men. They can hardly afford that lack of personnel on the field, especially given their interchange situation with only one left to bring on for the rest of the game, and now they're down to 12 men. And things are going from bad to worse for the Castleford coaching staff.
They really are, and we see it here. Certainly wasn't intentional shoulder as I thought it was in live play. It was just a swinging arm, as we heard the referee again, mitigating circumstances of the ball carrier falling.
So Leigh looking to strike again. They have got their foot on the throat of this Castleford side. And if they've not finished the job already, they're looking to do it in this next set as Mulhern goes carrying in. There's three of them hanging on him, and he travelled another 5 metres or so. Leg strength, incredible. Davis picks up, left to Lamb. Lamb now tries to pick out that man on the left-hand side, but it's over the top of the outstretched arm of Tessignew. And an opportunity missed from Leigh's point of view.
Well, they've had a fair bit of luck down that left-hand edge there this evening. On this occasion, Lamb spites off a little bit too much. Tessignew can't get a hold of it. And Castleford survive, and we saw them earlier with a yellow card. They survived the entire 10 minutes without conceding a try. Can they do it again? They're not going to win the game, but can they hold their heads high?
Well, just to underline, Bailey Hodgson got off on an HIA, and so Isaac Lew's back on in his place. And if he fails that HIA, then because of the sin binning, it will mean that Ben McNamara becomes available. He's the 18th man tonight for Leigh, and he will become available if Bailey Hodgson fails that HIA. We'll keep you up on that. There's not a lot of time left to play, though, is there? So by the time we get a ruling on the HIA, I think it'll be more or less full-time anyway. So maybe that's all academic. Anyway, Castleford down to 12, and they put up a spirited response in the first half when they were down to 12. Can they do something similar here? This is Horn. Westerman helping it along the way. Assi and Hoy's involved, and now it's Wood who's putting on the footwork and keeping it alive, and Mellor driving again. Horn stands and waits. Westerman once more. The short pass for Okoro to try and blast his way through. Held up. Horn again. Milnes goes out wide. Hoy, and now is an opportunity on that right-hand side. Surely for Sim. Well, they'll have a long, hard look at this. The referee's putting the square in the air.
We have no try.
No try on the field.
Just confirming the ball.
And we're
get to the ground,
off
please.
to our video referee again here in Ben Taylor.
So we have no try on field. I think this is going to be our best angle. He stays in the field of play. There, you can clearly see the ball at that point is up and stays up. I though then lose the ball, and I can't see the ball on that camera angle. See if this helps us. You can clearly see the ball here that is still in possession, but it is up at that point, and it stays up. It never goes anywhere near the floor, because you can clearly see. Now what I need to do is go back onto the other thing. Does he stay in the field of play, or does he go out of play? Okay, so that point, I've got nothing to suggest the Castleford player is in touch. So on these angles that we're giving is held up. Because actually you can, I'll go to camera 9. You can clearly see there that it's the lead player that's out of play, and the ball, it's not touching the floor. While it might be over the line, okay, it is in the air. Chris is in a great position to give held up there. There is no evidence to say he's actually out of play on the angles I've seen, so I've now made my decision.
Well, there you go. There was the explanation. No try. It's not going to be popular, but I don't think Penny will be arguing with it, having seen those angles, that this was never a try. But at least Castleford get another go here, because tackle 4, they do get the ball back again.
Yeah, another bite of the cherry. It was probably the first time we've seen any real threat on the try line, with a couple remaining here.
Okoro smashed in two as he tries to take it in, and he's still struggling hard. But one to play. Horn at dummy half. Back it comes for Assi to put that kick up in the air. There's a scramble here. The ball's allowed to bounce. This could be anywhere. I think it's New who eventually is underneath that and manages to stay in the field of play, and Leigh survived that, and they will have a chance to bring it back downfield. And Castleford again unable to breach that Leigh line.
There was Tessie New, try saver only moments ago, and then denies them. Another shot at the line, gets himself back into the field of play. Brilliant stuff from him. And the Leigh's defence tonight has been brilliant, both from their middles and their edge defence.
Here's Davis. Brogan. Well, they've scrambled about 30 metres or so from their line, but they've hit the last play, so Lamb will put that boot to ball. That's a good kick as well. That has got some distance on it. It goes out of play, though. It'll be less good, and it has gone out of play, so tap back on the 20. And this is what's coming up on Sky Sports for you tomorrow. Huddersfield against Catalan. It's fascinating to see how Huddersfield, that horrendous injury situation go on. And then that rivals round next week. Wakefield Cass on Thursday night, Hull against Hull KR, Wigan against St Helens, and it all finishes on Friday with Leeds against Huddersfield. And just when you were taking a breath after all that action, that frantic action, some big crowds and some big atmospheres there. We go again on Saturday. Leigh against Warrington at 1:25 and Catalan against Salford at 5 to 6. Both of those on Sky Sports Plus. But here, right now, Castleford looking to plant themselves back inside their opponent's half. It would be wrong to say looking to plant themselves back in the game, because that would appear to have long gone, but 11 minutes left. They could at least get some confidence back here. Almost a loose pass from Assi. Nella. This is Milnes. Okoro just propping it up again, and Castleford reached the last again. With Milnes wanting this ball. Again, it's so slow. The kick is high. And well, that's come down into the pocket on that far side, I think, of McIntosh, has it? Well, it's New, isn't it? Tessie New who's got over there to catch that. So Edwin Apapi in the background, ready to come back on again. Remind you that Castleford still down to the 12 men, with Sebastian Armo having been sin-binned. Still on the naughty boy step for another 3 or 4 minutes. And Leigh just looking to see this game out.
You can see the tempo in the game completely slow down from both teams. Just in this last couple of sets. Two very different reasons. Leigh Leopards trying to control the game. We see Robbie Mulhern bust through that tackle.
This is Lamb. And it's good hands, and here's McIntosh, who's got support back on the inside, but it's a forward pass. And full marks to the referee, because as fast as those outside backs were, he was right in line with that. And he got the best view of anybody to see that ball had travelled forward. Look where he is in that blue shirt. I think he would have been next in line for the pass if Armstrong had fancied it, but it was a forward pass. Really important now for Cass to get a bit of confidence. These are the next 5 fixtures. We've said they've only won 1 game so far this season. But that next 5 offers an opportunity, would you say? Wakefield away, and then at Magic. The local rivalry there, you know, it's a derby game, so can they live for that? Huddersfield, who've had real problems this year so far. Salford, who've had real problems so far. So the next 4 games, do they, in your opinion, offer Cass a chance to get this season up and running?
Enormous, and that's how they have to be looking at it tonight. It's something I circled pre-game. Regardless of the result here, they've got big opportunities ahead of them. Huddersfield haven't won a game yet. We saw them earlier in the year against the Leeds Rhinos. Although it be a late effort in the scoreline, there's plenty of positives for Castleford, and that's where they've got to be setting their eyes, because it could come in a flurry for them through that period.
Well, they ain't winning tonight. Leigh are winning this for sure, and they are going into the top 6, and they can look with confidence at what they've got coming up in the next few weeks. Warrington, well, Warrington have been a bit up and down, haven't they, of late? So who knows in that game, and then Salford away, and the same problems of Salford. Catalan at Magic, Warrington and Wigan as well in the Challenge Cup, of course, that Warrington game. Downtown, offside in front of the play the ball, so...
If he gets back beyond the play the ball, he's downtown.
Good spot by the referee. I love a downturn, Courtney, because it means the referee's really got his eye on the game. If you're standing in front of the play the ball, you can't get involved until the next play the ball. And have a look at this. So just about everybody's downtown here. Oh, I'm not sure what it was, actually, but the referee did spot it, so... Castleford have got the penalty. There's a bonus. And here comes Lawler. 10 metres away. Horn waiting at dummy half again. Okoro, maybe he fancies a run. Instead, it's into the hands of Mustafa. Mustafa upended and put down. 4 plays to go. Castleford fans have a right to get excited here, because there's an opportunity. Here comes Okoro. Wide and fumbled. Lawler recovers it. So they go again. You can hear the voices from the terraces. They are desperate for a score. Desperate for their side to find a way through. Mustafa. 2 plays to go in the set. Is there a spark? An explosion here of real excitement. Across it comes. Good hands. Kershaw has to try and straighten up. Dragged close to that touchline. He wasn't given much of a chance there. Too many defenders in front of him. Assie's kick. City up in the air. And there you go. There you go. Zach City, like a rocket, flying through the air, but hang on with those happy faces. The referee wants another look. Try on the field he's given. But having a look at the offside, onside, I think here. Let's hear from Ben Taylor again.
We have a live call on field of the try. If you could pause it there on the foot, everyone you can see on the right-hand side is onside. So just going now for the challenge in the air. It's a clean challenge. They've gone up for the ball, catches it cleanly, go nice and slow on this, and pause it there. Thank you, I've now made my decision.
Well, it would have been cruel, wouldn't it, to have denied Castleford a moment of pleasure on a night that has been mostly miserable. But the try is confirmed. Zach Cini, the scorer, and Castleford have points on the board.
It's a real shame we see it go up as a try, that the scoreline takes away from brilliant athleticism shown there from Cini. Flew through the air off a lovely kick, timed it to perfection, and the Aussie shows his Aussie rule skills. And the mark above the head, brilliantly done. we see the try converted. They are on the board.
Yep.
It's not going to impact the result.
The goal goes over, 6 points to 20. And there's that moment Castleford fans want to capture and put in a can and watch again and again. They're back to 13 players as well. When they've been out to 12 tonight, they haven't conceded a try, I don't think, on both occasions, and they have scored a try, so maybe that's the way forward. Can they back it up? Or can Leigh restore their utter domination here? Hall. A little hop and a jump from Okoro, who looks a little unhealthy as he picks himself up. Maybe an ankle injury, I'm not sure. But Horn is ready again to collect from the feet of Namo. Back on the field, fresh from that time in a sin bin. Into the final 4.5 minutes. Hassi, no look pass to this left-hand side. Here's Mella. Kershaw bending his back. Hassi's kick. And underneath it, oh, I was going to say Tessie knew, but he's let it bounce, and lucky for him, Armstrong's not only behind him, that the bounce is good. We're being told, by the way, that Bailey Hodgson has passed his HIA, so that's clearance for Leigh. And Leigh looking to just finish the job here. Job's done. 2 points earned into the top
valuable
6.
Points, aren't they? A little slow to get going in the year. Of course, brilliant win round 1, but it was through the cup that they've built some momentum. And 2 points is 2 points.
Davies goes left and Halton carries on, and Leigh again find themselves on the halfway line. Last play in this set, so Lamb again will be looking for the kick, just putting in the corner. How's he going to find touch? Oh, he's just gone too long again. Gone too long, so tap back on the 20. So Courtney, you've cast your BDI across these 80 minutes so far. Who has been your player of the match?
Well, look, I do think the forward pack, and particularly those of the interchange bench, have been brilliant for the Leigh Leopards. But it's been Lachlan Lamb for me. His kicking game, I know we see one go dead, but last week, Dad, Adrian Lamb spoke about the combination starting to come together. Him and Gareth O'Brien, brilliant this evening. 2 try assists for Lachlan Lamb, and a very controlled kicking game, which has just denied the Castleford Tigers any metres on those kick returns. Brilliant to watch. And a try saver as well, in there as well, Tessingnew.
We'll be hearing from Lachlan at the end of the game. We'll be hearing from both coaches as well, hopefully, before we go off air. Much contrasting emotions, I would have thought, but Castleford trying to engage themselves again in attack here. Try and finish, reignite that positivity that they had just a moment ago, and they're coming left. It's patted on. And it's back with Kershaw. Drops it off for Wood. Wood now picking a path, and this is a neat run from him, and a lovely little ball slipped away as well, and Mella helps it on. But it all comes to an end there, and it will be a penalty. I think somebody was taken off the ball here. Daniel Okoro, I think, taken off the ball. You see Okoro's down there in the background. I think hit on suspicion is what the referee has given up for. And here's Mella. This was the moment that Okoro got that knock, which led to the penalty. Namo lost the ball, and Leigh will get it back 10 metres from their own line. And it looks as though they're going to finish the game with ball in hand here, Courtney.
It's been the story of the evening, hasn't it? Castleford Tigers just can't find themselves any way to build pressure in moments like
This side,
that.
boys, this side, left one.
It was Holton coming in,
Down side!
a little loose carry.
Back down.
Again, denies them a chance to finish the set, get to a kick. But you have to credit Leigh.
Well, it hasn't been a classic, but Leigh will not mind too much about that because they've been on their travels across the motorway and they're going home with 2 points and a place in the top 6 after the 7 rounds of this opening few weeks of the Super League season. And Castleford still go in search of their second win.
Third. Out, down!
Hogan down and up again. Short ball for Trout. Here's Davis. Eventually. Well, I don't think anybody was in the mood to get up from that because they knew the hooter was imminent. And that rather sums up the game in many ways, that ending. But Leigh not too bothered about it because they've won here. They've taken their chances. They've shown some excellence here tonight. It all started in the very opening minutes, didn't it, with that Edwin Ipape try. And they've never looked like being second best since then. Cass have got a lot of work to do, but Leigh worthy winners here by 20 points to 6 tonight, Gordon.
Yeah, they were, and you know, going into half-time at 12-0, we did question whether they could have and should have been up by more than that. They've put their foot down in the second half. A couple of tries early just absolutely pushed the Castleford Tigers out of the game. They might have scored one late on, but again, wasn't going to impact on the result. And they've got some work to do, but some winnable games coming up. Instead, the Leigh Leopards, another 2 points for them, and they climb into the top 6.
Well, Cass will be hoping to galvanise for that big match next Thursday, of course, which you can see live on Sky Sports against Wakefield, that local derby drama. And then the big game against Huddersfield coming up after that as well. But this is the way the table is looking at the moment.